Ever wonder about the biology behind creating life? It's pretty amazing, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep into one of the most incredible production lines in all of nature, the male reproductive system. We're going to follow the entire journey of a sperm cell, right from the very beginning to its final mission. So, let's get into it. All right, take a look at this. This diagram is basically going to be our map for this whole adventure. We'll keep coming back to it, pointing out all the important stops along the way. I know, it might look a little overwhelming at first glance, but don't worry. We're going to take it one step at a time, starting right at the source. And that source, that starting point for our whole journey, it's right here, the testes. Now, I want you to think of these as the absolute powerhouses, the main factories of the whole operation. And these factories are busy. They're working 24/7, juggling two huge, super important jobs at the same time. And this is where it gets really cool, this dual role. It's like a factory with two totally different but equally crucial departments. You've got the factory floor, which is spermatogenesis. That's where millions and millions of sperm are being made. And then you've got the head office, the command center, which is pumping out testosterone. That's the hormone that's basically running the whole show. Okay, so that big word for the production line is spermatogenesis. Let's say that together nice and slow. Spermatogenesis. Yeah, it sounds super scientific, but all it really means is the amazing process of turning a simple little starter cell into a super specialized, fully mature sperm cell, a spermatozoon, that's built for one heck of a journey. So how does this actually happen? Well, it's not a one-and-done thing. It's a whole process with multiple stages. You start with a basic stem cell, and it divides and changes, kind of like a character leveling up in a video game. It goes through these different forms, remodeling itself each step of the way, until, bam, you've got the final product, a fully formed spermatozoon. And get this is a fact that always blows my mind. That whole leveling up process we just talked about, for just one sperm cell from start to finish, takes on average 74 days. Yeah, 74 days. That's nearly 2.5 months. To put that in perspective, it can take longer to make a single sperm than it does to build a car. Wild, right? So after that 74-day marathon, you'd think, okay, they're good to go, right? Well, not quite. And this is a really important detail. They've been built, but they haven't been trained. Fresh off that factory line, they can't even swim. So their journey is a long way from over. Next stop for them? Boot camp. And here we are. Welcome to boot camp. This tightly coiled structure you see is called the epididymis. Let's nail that pronunciation. Epididymis. Perfect. So it's right here inside this super long tube where the sperm do all their final training. This is where they finally mature, learn how to swim, and then they just hang out, waiting for the call to action. And this is just an incredible piece of biological engineering. If you could take this one single tube, the epididymis, and stretch it all the way out, it would be about 6 meters long. That's almost 20 feet. So you have to ask, why so long? Well, that massive length is what gives the sperm the time they need, about 2 weeks of travel time to fully mature and get their swimming tails working. It's a long road, but it's absolutely necessary. Okay, so boot camp is over, graduation day is here. The sperm are now fully mature and ready to be deployed. Their main getaway route is this tube called the vas deferens. You can think of it as the main superhighway out of the storage facility. It's a muscular tube, and it contracts to push the sperm along, moving them towards the next big checkpoint. But here's the thing, sperm are not solo travelers, no way. In fact, the sperm cells themselves are only a tiny, tiny part of the fluid that eventually leaves the body. For the dangerous journey ahead, they need a vehicle, they need fuel, and they need protection. And that's where the support crew comes in. These are the accessory glands, and their job is to create all the other fluids that mix with the sperm to make semen. So who's in this support crew? Well, there are 3 key players. You've got the seminal vesicles, the prostate gland, and the little but very important Cowper's glands. Each one of these glands contributes its own special ingredient to the mix, kind of like a recipe, to make sure the sperm have everything they need to succeed on their mission. All right, let's jump back to our map for a second. See these glands right here? Those are the seminal vesicles. These guys are the real workhorses of the crew. They produce most of the fluid that makes up semen. And what's in that fluid? A whole lot of fructose, which is basically just sugar. It's high-octane fuel for the sperm to power that long swim. Okay, next up in the support crew, located just under the bladder on our map, is the prostate gland.
This gland adds a milky fluid to the mix, and it does a couple of really important things. First, it helps protect the sperm by neutralizing any acid they might run into. It also adds a special enzyme, PSA, which you can think of as a liquefier. It helps make the semen thinner after ejaculation, which makes it way easier for the sperm to swim freely.
Okay, let's do a quick recap. The factory has produced the sperm. They've gone through boot camp and learned to swim. The support crew has mixed up the perfect cocktail of fuel and protection. All the pieces are in place. Now, it's time for the final act. The big event that brings this whole incredible process together.
And this whole thing happens in 3 main stages. First up is erection. That's a vascular thing where tissues fill up with blood. The second stage is called emission. This is when the sperm and all those fluids from the support crew finally get mixed together in the urethra. And the third and final stage is ejaculation, which is basically a series of muscle contractions that pushes the semen out of the body.
So there you have it. We've just toured this amazing biological factory, a system that works with just breathtaking precision. But it kind of leaves you with one last big question, doesn't it? We've seen how it all works, but what is conducting this whole orchestra? What's sending out all the hormonal signals that direct this incredible cellular symphony? It's just a great reminder that even when we understand so much, there's always more to be amazed by. Thanks for joining me on this